Well, my name is Lily Kaysen, and I am the program manager with the Environmental Education and Research Center. So I just started at UW-Bothell last summer, and I'm working on this exciting project. The EERC is what we're calling it as well. And so the Environmental Education and Research Center is a university-led project in partnership with Washington State Parks that is a center designed to advance scientific knowledge, stewardship of Pacific Northwest ecosystems, public understanding, connection with nature, and environmental equity. So I want to give you a little bit of a framework about what the physical space itself is like and the history behind it, and then also what kinds of programming we're planning on offering. So I have a map here that you can see the driving pathway between the UWB campus and then St. Edward State Park, which is where the EERC will be located. It's in Kenmore, Washington, so it's about 15-20 minute drive in a car from campus. There's also some bus transportation that goes to the entrance to the park as well. And so the park is a really exciting location because it's got lakefront on Lake Washington, really nice forests. There's lots of trails for walking, hiking, mountain biking, and there's also Pasteur University is located right next door. And so it's a really incredible space to be located in for doing this kind of work. The history behind the property, in most recent times, in the 1930s, there was a building constructed that was used as a seminary. And I think it was around for about 45 years or so before it fell into, or stopped being as well attended. And so then the property ended up being taken over by Washington State Parks. And then just in recent history in 2017, a real estate group, Daniels Real Estate, took over operation of the old seminary building and has remodeled it to be a hotel and spa and restaurant now. And as part of that renovation of that facility, we also have our space carved out for the EERC. So if you see in this picture here, that big building there is the now lodge. And then off to the left, there is what used to be the gym of the seminary building. And then the annex is going to be the space that the EERC is in. And this project was funded through Washington State appropriation to be able to remodel that building space. And so this is like kind of a bird's eye view of what that space looks like. So that little yellow box is where the EERC is on the property. And so the building is still under construction with COVID. We've had some delays due to supply chain issues and then just also general COVID challenges. But the space is going to have a classroom that could fit about 30-40 students, an office, a little library space, and then we're co-located with Washington State Parks. So their office will also be in that same space with us, which is exciting. And then if you see on the left side of that drawing, there is an outdoor learning space. So we'll have a little area outside where we have a garage door that we'll be able to open. And so we can also go outside into that space just out from the building to be able to continue with the learning there. So this is a picture from some construction during the construction process. You can kind of get a mental image of what the space is going to look like. That opening on the left there that you can see is where that garage door is going to be. And it opens up into the park, which is an amazing facility. So we're expecting to be finished now around summer 2022. So the building is still getting finished up, and then we've got those plans for the outdoor learning area on the outside there as well. And one of the big reasons that this whole project is taking place is just because of the amazing environment that is around that space. So St. Edward State Park is an amazing location that has forests, fields, wetlands, lakeshore, streams, a really diverse environment. It has really good potential for us to be able to engage with the community, both to be able to share information about what's happening at UWB and also for us to provide programming for the public. So the park has over 500,000 visitors a year, and I think is one of the most visited of the Washington State parks. So types of programming that we're planning on doing are, we'll have a speaker series that will have different faculty being able to do talks that are open to the public. We're planning on doing some education for K-12 students that's rooted in the Learning in Places program that was developed by Carrie Zoe, a faculty at UWB. Also implementing some backpacks programming. So having some supplies that people, youth and families would be able to borrow from us to explore the park. Interpretive displays. We have already had some UWB students involved in creating interpretive displays that can be put up in the EERC space, and are currently working with more people to develop more of those. And then having opportunities as well for community participation in research, students serving as docents, getting to do tours of the park and things like that. And there have been some things already happening in the park too. So, we've got the building is underway, but that hasn't stopped us from beginning some programming. So there were already a few classes that were hosted in the park this past fall in 2021. And students were able to do projects out into the park in the forest. We are planning on having some more classes there. So if students are interested, they can look up to see about taking classes in the park. And I just listed one on this slide, the BCUSP 199 is going to be a 2-hour credit course that will be taught in the spring. And that will be with me and then also Layla Taylor from CBLR. So if you're interested, you can look that up. The idea is to do a lot of project-based work and engaging students in helping to co-create this space and this facility that we're putting together. We have plans for summer camps for youth in the future, as well as other kinds of programming for K-12. There's also research that's been taking place in the park. A really cool project that's been going out there. You can see in that slide in the third picture from the left with the hat on is Dave Stokes, who's a faculty member in IAS at UWB. And he's been leading a project to study wildlife in the park and how they travel outside of the park as well. So he has cameras set up to capture them, images of them in the park and then also in the surrounding areas around the park, and has worked with students as well on some of that research. A lot of classes have been taking place in St. Edward State Park in the past as well. So this is not a new thing entirely for UWB to be doing classes there. And we're also working on projects with community groups. So I just wanted to highlight one here, a project we're working on with the Finn Hill Neighborhood Association, which is adjacent to the park. And we're working on doing some things with interpretive trails, geocaching, having some of those backpacks, like I mentioned earlier, for families to use, and other ways of engaging community in the park. So we've got a lot of different ideas, and we're still very much forming exactly what the programming will look like and the center. And so there's a lot of opportunities for input from community and other members. So for students, we really want to get students involved. Some opportunities would be those classes. We're also working on forming a community advisory board, and we want student leadership on that as well to be able to provide a student voice to what students are interested in. There's also opportunities for clubs to be able to be in the space or do programming there. So if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to take those. And then I also have my contact information on that slide, and I can put it in the chat as well. So feel free to email me if anyone has follow-up ideas or questions. And then also you can visit our website to sign up for our newsletter as well. Yeah, so any questions? I'm happy to answer if there are.